I feel like we've gone through some stuff that is of potentially of value to people, but I certainly would never consider myself an expert in business.
No, we just happen to forge and meld our strengths. I don't think there's much like business acumen. How do you do
But
that?
it's quite amazing how those things can actually just create a business.
No, I know.
Knowing that I didn't want to be in the industry anymore, I think my confidence was pretty low. What was my career at this point and what was I going to do?
And then I just sat up and I just burst into tears and said to you, I think I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And that was just those words were just like so therapeutic.
I think this is a place that I guess we can come to have slightly longer conversations than we do on the gram.
Yeah.
Because I think we started to do these little things on the gram where it's like Q&As or we're in food production, let's talk about food production, but we're kind of limited to like a 60-second to 90-second
Right.
kind of thing. And it's nice to actually be able to unpack some stuff without being forced into such a small medium.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a way for us to sort of open that up a bit, have a conversation, talk about what's happening in the business, talk about what's happening a little bit in our lives, parenting, and also what's sort of like trending in the world of health, fitness, food, farming, those sorts of things, the things that we kind of tend to talk about at the Good Farm Shop.
Yeah. And anything like throughout the period in which we filmed the last one, be it a week or 2 weeks, that's sort of been a challenge, a struggle, or a win, how you overcame an obstacle.
I guess maybe as like a starting point for people who maybe don't follow our Instagram or have never ordered from the Good Farm Shop, don't really know anything about us, maybe it's worth doing a little bit of like a very small introduction as to who you are, who I am, and what the Good Farm Shop is.
Yeah, well, I'm Scott. That's my wife and business partner, Matilda. We started the Good Farm Shop, which is a high provenance focused ready meals company about 4 years ago. We got a little kitchen down in Brookvale, great little team. We deliver all around Australia, bar Northern Territory and WA.
And Scott's background is in nutrition, cooking and health, hence why the Good Farm Shop has these pillars that are very aligned to those things. And then my background is in film and TV.
Is that why it took us 3 hours to set this up?
Which apparently has no bearing on trying to set up 2 cameras and some microphones.
Yeah.
But I guess that has helped to market our business, to get an audience. I guess like to help build the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is very new for us, business.
Yeah. And we sort of muddling our way through, and you learn by your mistakes, and some of them are costly, some of them are not.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of what's nice about having this medium is that we can talk about those things. I love it when people are open and transparent in business because I learn from that. So I think I'm hoping that our podcast is a place for us to be, to share those things that we've gone through, that we're going through.
So just a slight tangent here, because this sort of like comes to mind when I think about me as a business person, a business owner, which I've been for the last 20 years in various different sort of incarnations. But I wouldn't say I know much about business really from like a textbook point of view.
Yes.
So I wondered if you feel that way, because we have a business that's had some success over the last 4 years. But I would be very reluctant in any way, shape or form to like offer business advice.
Yeah, no, absolutely not in the sense of here is business advice. I think
How do you do that again?
He is like 0 degree, it never worked in any other business except our own. I feel like we've gone through some stuff that is of potentially of value to people, But I certainly would never consider myself an expert in business.
No.
I think
I feel almost like we just happen to forge and meld our strengths, which is your ability to convey a story and a narrative. So you create the shop front and the storytelling around that. And then me and the team make some yummy food. And I think it's just, those two worlds colliding that have produced a business that does okay. I don't think there's much like business acumen between you and I and
but
any of that sort of.
It's quite amazing how those things can actually just create a business.
No, I know, but I think it's more of a fluke than a
yes, but I don't
strategy.
think that for anyone out there listening who also doesn't have any business experience, I don't think that excludes them from being able to start a business. I think it is the kind of thing that you can accidentally fall into and fumble your way through until you get it right.
Yeah, I think if you've got a reasonably good idea and you're willing to work hard and get behind that idea, I think.
Yeah, I think
that's actually where the
like you've got to have a
is.
passion. It's good. You've got to have something driving you that potentially, if it's not a good sense of business, it's a lot of passion, which I think was, and I think like pressure to make it work. Like certainly for you and me, we were at a real crossroads in our life when we started the Good Farm Shop. I didn't want to be in the film industry anymore. You had a whole lot of ambassadorships that you'd sort of had from your My Kitchen Rules days, did all your cookbooks, had some opportunities, but they were starting to fall away. And you were in a part of your life where you were kind of
because
going...
of all the sex tapes that came out. And
not with me.
That's before you.
They were starting to fall away, and you had to also work out what the next chapter was going to be for your life. Neither of us were making a lot of money. We were like just surviving, and we were kind of looking at this down the road of going like, okay, I'm probably at some point going to have to get a job in a cafe or, to supplement whatever acting, writing, directing career I had. And you were at the point where you were starting to go around knocking on construction sites saying, do you have any part-time work? And so there was very much a pressure for us to make this business work, which I think really helps to make something work.
Yeah, you're incentivized to make that one idea work.
Yeah.
Because you don't really have a solid career-based plan B, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing that happened at that time was that we were introduced to regenerative agriculture.
Yeah.
COVID happened. We went up to the farm. We got locked out of the Northern Beaches. We stayed at the farm and we started to listen to Mum and Mick talk about regenerative agriculture. And then we went back thinking, oh my God, we want to be eating that beef. How do we get that to our home? Couldn't find it anywhere. Started a cow share. And so, I mean, it is kind of like this crazy accumulation of like right timing, pressure, passion, all coming together. And then a couple of years, also the kids being super young, a couple of years of like really hard work to get it going and like making mistakes and bumping into walls and going,
I feel like
shit.
I've got like a little bit of amnesia from that period.
You can't remember it?
Not like super vividly, no. I guess
I
like
can
starting
really
a business. But I wonder even if you just take the business side out of it, just having two small kids, and obviously Tashi, but he's a lot older at that point when we had the two little ones. But just having, I wonder how many parents around that time where they're like in the trenches of having a newborn and a 2-year-old. It's all a bit of a, oh yeah, when was that? So then throw in starting a new business. Yeah, I don't remember it all that well.
How do you feel? I think like what is interesting and what people probably don't talk about a lot is, as a man at that point in your life, I would say that could probably have been the hardest point for you when you when you had a kid, we had a kid, we had a young kid together. You're now having to kind of like work out how you're gonna make things work. Like, how did you, because a really big thing happened for you with the cafes that you opened with James that that failed, not because of you, but because of all that other stuff that we may go into at some point. You ended up with shingles and in hospital from the stress.
Mm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, it was a very difficult time, but yeah, and I think
Because
I think you're skirting around the reason why it was so hard is that I think as a man, as there is this sort of integral, primordial want and desire to be the provider, and maybe in 2026 it's sort of less evident how the man does that, but I think to our bones that's our one of our MOs. And so at that point, I guess before we'd started the Good Farm Shop, I had a failed business, and instead of providing, I was actually like sucking out of our resources because I wasn't probably turning up in a way that I should have been because I was so like in my own head, but also we're in debt, or I was in debt. And so that became our debt very generously to you.
That's right.
So I'm going the other
I
way.
think I have amnesia around that part.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, so like instead of being the provider, I don't know what the opposite to that is, but like, yeah, I'm draining on our family's resources. And so that led to, I do remember, going on walks with you and not really, like, it's almost like you put it on a front and you're like, yeah, hey babe, how'd you sleep? But just, you got so much noise in your head, and I internalized so much as an introvert that, then I got sick. So my body went, okay, buddy, like, here's how you're going to feel the physical manifestation of your stress. You're going to have shingles and you're going to be in hospital for a week. But it was the greatest thing that could have happened to me right then, because I was like, okay, well.
You didn't have any other way to get out of it all,
no.
did you?
And I remember coming back. So I had a week in hospital and coming back and being triggered by one of the kids. I remember laying on the lounge. I'd been back a day or 2 days. And
Look wasn't alive then. It was just Zan.
It was Tashi and Zan. And then I just sat up and I just burst into tears and said to you, I think I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And that was just those words were just like so therapeutic. Yeah. I felt like 80% better.
I feel like they were for me as well, because I was like, oh, finally some kind of clarity around what's going on or how you're feeling, because you were just masking it all. It's like I'd say, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
yeah.
It was just this, at what point are you gonna burst open?
Well, that, I guess that in a man's eye, that flies contrary to what you're trying to represent. You're trying to represent the togetherness, the reliability, the consistency of what a man should be, right? But then if you say, oh, I'm struggling, it's sort of, it's quite hard to do that. It wasn't easy, and I dare say it's not for most guys who are struggling in that, in a stage in their life, career, whatever it may be, where they're not stepping into the role that we have. That's sort of, it's within our fabric to be.
Okay, well, fast forward 4 years, I guess, 5 years, 6 years.
What, to now?
Yeah, to now. What's changed? I mean, lots has changed.
Yes. I guess now I don't have those utterances in my head anymore about not providing. We have an equal share in the business, and everything else is equivocal, but that's enough for me to feel like the hard work that I put in the kitchen and outside the kitchen contributes to that identity as a man providing for his family in some sense. So I guess it's given me confidence. It's put a skip in my stride.
Yeah.
What about you?
What about me?
Well, how's the feeling changed for you in that time frame as well, in terms of like
Oh, yes,
self-esteem?
so much. Well, I mean, I guess for years my self-esteem had sort of been like eroding from, I mean, as soon as you step into the ring as an actress, you're faced with like rejection, unless you're one of the 1% that, you know, lands role after role after role after role. I think I was played the resilient character for a long time. And then I think like just that awakening that I had where after, you know, getting close to selling the show and then getting close to selling a show again, knowing that I didn't want to be in the industry anymore. I think at that point I was pretty, I think my confidence was pretty low in terms of, I think I always had a strong sense of who I am. Like I've always felt like kind of confident anyway, just probably due to the upbringing that I had. But I think that I didn't feel, obviously, I felt like what was my career at this point and what was I going to do for a career, and had no idea that it would take this trajectory. Like never once considered that I would own a business. Never once considered that business was creative, which I very much think that it is. I feel so grateful to this business for what it has created for us, what it has brought to us, what it is, like just how it's evolved. And I'm so proud of the business.
But maybe from your creative mind, having not known business in the formal sense, it's sort of, I don't know, it's enabled you to think dynamically because you're not coming from this corporate aspect. You're just like, well, yeah, why not? Let's give it a go. Like, let's try this. Whereas I think if you're tethered by a traditional business modeled ideology, you're sort of like, maybe your parameters on decision makings are a bit firmer, but because you're like this creative, artistic personality that hasn't ever really stepped in business, there's almost like no, it's a different approach, isn't it? It's like
it's a totally different way of seeing it, of building something with people around us. Like we also have the most amazing people who helped us, like, you know, helped us, like, totally. You know, I think that's the part about business, that you can't do it without people around you that make the business work.
Yeah.
Have specific skills that make it work.
Yep. No question.
But yeah, so anyway, I think that's a very long-winded introduction. This was only supposed to be 30 minutes. Why don't we do what we set out to do, which was do what's trending. So
yes,
for me and for you, what is trending when it comes to health, fitness, food, farming? Choose one of those things. Let's talk about it.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Why don't you go first?
All right.
Seeing as I always
well, the thing that's come up for me, you know, I see on socials, I see in my friend shares it via the finance news as well, this sort of like uptake on GLP-1 drugs, and Ozempic is probably the most well-known drug. And it's solving a problem for people, right? So to get a prescription of one of these drugs, you've probably got to exhibit cardiovascular disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes. And so it fixes or helps to manage that problem by normalizing blood sugar, creating satiety, reducing meal size, reduce meal frequency. So that's all great. Tick.
Mm.
But the issue that it's now creating is that when you reduce someone's feeding frequency and meal size, so you're literally through the drugs manipulating your appetite, right? So now your appetite is somewhat suppressed because you've got this longer gastric emptying, you're feeling full, you can't eat all that's on your plate. What it means is, and I used to talk about this with my clients when I was nutrition coaching, is that if your feeding window shrinks or the total calories you're consuming in a day shrinks, it now becomes harder to get enough energy, enough micronutrients, enough vitamins to sustain you and be healthy. So what we're seeing now is that there's, conditions that are coming up as a result of, I guess, malnutrition. So we're getting beriberi and we're getting scurvy,
What's
which is
beriberi?
Well, it's a deficiency in B1. So your body's ability to convert food into energy.
Okay.
And scurvy, which is, bloody sailors used to get on ships, being away from like fresh food for so long, which is vitamin C. So we're seeing these things pop up and we're only going to see more of them, and protein deficiencies too. For solving one problem, we've potentially created, not for everyone, of course, but they reckon about 25% of all users are having some sort of deficiency. Currently, there's about 500,000 people, that represents about 2% of the Australian population, that are using these GLP-1s. They foresee in about 10 years' time, there's going to be about 25%, which is sort of mimicking what's happening in the States. The States were, I guess, early adopters, and there's generally, well, not generally, but there is just more people. So the uptake is greater. And so we're seeing this sort of issue over there. So I guess, this is not like an advice channel by any means, but it's just very interesting that the popularity of a drug not just in the clinical sense. I mean, you've been saying it for a little while, and I guess maybe from you, my ears and eyes have been alerted to the fact that it's not necessarily just in that clinical setting that these drugs are being prescribed. They're being prescribed privately. And so people in our peer set are losing weight, which is, any nutritionist, dietitian worth their salt will say that, keeping fat mass to a healthy range is ideal, but we just have to be careful that those people aren't shrinking their calorie intake to the detriment of their nutrient intake.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this to you just in passing, because I've noticed a few friends, I guess not close friends, because otherwise I would just ask them.
Yeah.
But sort of friends, acquaintances.
Yeah, locals.
Yeah, who have like dropped significant weight, in that they look different, but I don't think that they were like, they may have been like a size 12 or 14. So certainly not in that category of like, I guess that I thought that you would be prescribed like Ozempic.
I guess it sort of like has parallels to the vegan diet, in a sense that you can have a healthy outcome being vegan, but you just have to be diligent about the types of foods that you're consuming, right? If it's just bread, rice, pasta, the white
very
foods,
processed foods,
then it's not a recipe for health. Just as if you're taking, GLP-1 medications to lose weight, you've got to be diligent about
the other things that you do to help.
Well, not the other things you do, but just make sure the meals that you have, which
Well,
are
yeah, but
less
there's that isn't there that whole thing about like you lose muscle mass, not necessarily, I mean, obviously lose fat too, but you're losing a lot of the muscle mass. So one of the things that they do talk about is strength training to help not to lose muscle mass.
Yeah, to sort of, buttress against that, I guess. But yeah, it's just, I guess, staggering that we're now seeing cases of scurvy, like full Australian report investigation into, so it's almost like these doctors who are prescribing it need to sort of, I don't know, they need to like support the patient in another way, like
the nutrition side of it.
You're going to be eating less, you're going to be feeling fuller for longer, so therefore, think about X, Y, and Z. What was your trending?
We just touched on it. My trending one is I'm seeing a lot of people in my feed. I'm seeing a lot of strength training.
Oh yeah,
like way more than. And I don't know whether it's because, which it probably is. I started to at the beginning of the year. I was like, I'm going to get strong. Like I felt that I wanted to, off the back of having a miscarriage, I was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to be pregnant, I'm going to go hard and be strong.
Yeah, you did say that.
And I wanted to, and I was like, okay, if I'm not having another baby, then I want to be strong for the kids that I have. So I was like, I'm gonna like really try and be strong and commit to strength training. And so I guess I've been probably following more, like seeing more strength training things pop up and then be interested in them. So I would say that probably has a reason for why my Instagram has a lot of strength training people in there. But I just feel like in general it is being talked about more with women. Like it is something that, 5 or so years ago, I guess you go to the gym and see women doing it, but it was much more like women were into the cardio, men are in the weights room. And now I feel like it's
more mainstream sort
it's
of thing.
more mainstream. Women are actually looking at women who do strength training and going, oh, you actually have a really great body. You're not what I thought would happen if you lifted weights.
I feel like, women have been lifting weights for a long time, but yeah, you're probably right. Like 10 years ago, there was a certain type of woman that wanted to get, jacked and have the big booty and all the rest of it. But now, it seems to be sort of.
You must have had so many girls when you were doing your boot camp say, oh, I don't want to get big though.
Oh yeah.
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 That was such a thing. I think I remember saying that to trainers as well. Like, I want to. I don't want to get like big, and they're like, "Oh my god, lifting weights doesn't make you big."
Well,
then you're like, "Well, then why do guys do it? It must."
Well, all the right inputs have to stack up. Like it's quite.
Yeah.
Like my desire, which is to get bigger, but you've known me for what 8-9 years, and I don't reckon I've changed at all. And I train, so like to actually get. To put muscle on is such a long, hard road, and you need to be super consistent. You need to eat calorie surplus. You need to have like adequate protein. Like it's a lot of things have to stack up for a long time, like consistently. So just doing a few deadlifts or walking lunges with some weights isn't going to make you bulky.
I feel like in my past when I have done it, I've gotten really hungry and then I've eaten more and then I've gotten big. I feel like that was probably where I went wrong it wasn't actually the weights I was doing that was making me big. It was the amount of time I was spending at the gym and then being like, fuck, I'm starving.
Right.
And then not knowing what to eat.
Right.
Pre-you.
Right.
Although I did meet you and then we started going to the gym and then you were like, let's go on the keto diet, or you were on the keto diet. And then I was like, oh, it's so fun drinking smoothies just that are like have 100 macadamia nuts in them. Cut to me 2 months later and I'm like, I don't think this is working for me. No, but
So what's the is there a prevailing message that's coming across from
Yeah,
strength
I think
training
now
girls?
it's like it's actually less about aesthetics and it's more about how important strength training is as you get older. I'll bring out some stats about, just for anyone out there who's going, yeah, but why? Do I really need to do some strength training? I mean, it's totally up to you, but I guess some of the things that are coming up about why you should do more strength training as you get older is that bone density can drop 1 to 2% per year after menopause, and falls affect roughly 1 in 4 adults over 65 annually.
So let's unpack that for a second.
Yeah.
So when we lift a weight, I think we so focus on the muscle that's been recruited to lift that weight, and so we're applying a force, and we're overcoming inertia to move that weight, whether it's a squat, bicep curl, whatever. It's the same principle. So we're causing stress to that muscle, and through various actions, it rebuilds and comes back bigger and stronger. That's sort of like the principle behind it. But secondary, or just as important as that muscle being recruited, the bone is being recruited. And the bone it's not a piece of tissue. It's a living tissue, right? It's being rebuilt all the time.
Right.
So if you provide it with enough stress and stimulus, i.e. you're flexing it through the action of lifting, protein deposits. And so you can retard the degradation of your bone through osteoporosis.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So yeah, you're doing bones, and so anything that it's got to be of a certain intensity, I guess, to force that bone to flex, or it's sort of like a bounding ballistic exercise, squat jumps,
right?
Like the plyometrics side of the strength equation. Anything that provides explosive load or high load in terms of its weight capacity.
Right.
And then so going to this, so that's one thing, and it feeds into why people trip as they get older. So we have various types of fibers. So let's call them, there's other strands, but let's call them type 1, type 2. So type 1 are very endurance fatigue, and type 2 are responsible for power, explosive type movements. And each muscle has a proportion of each of those things. And some muscles have more of one and less of the other. But as we age, the type 2 de-innovate and become type 1. So what that means is, as we hit a curb or the shower, the edge of the shower, and instead of being able to like quickly brace, which is relying on explosive movement to like steady yourself again. So it's not necessarily a loss of balance, although that's part of it.
Yeah, it's like agility.
Yeah, it's our inability to catch yourself. And so that's the reason why people fall, and it's almost like a cascade from there. If you fall and break your hip, there's some like astonishing stat on
the recovery is not.
Yeah, or how many people pass, sadly.
Yeah.
As, 3, 6, whatever. I can't pull the stat off my head, but it's something like, oh wow, if you trip and break your hip, the outcome 6, 12 months down the track is not too pretty, So, I've got an aging mum, and for the longest time I've been saying, as much as you can, like lift some weights, like do some squats, and she's been quite amazing in that space.
She still does it?
I don't know whether she still does it. She has back.
She used to go to the gym, didn't she?
Yeah, for ages she was doing all that sort of stuff, but maybe it's become a little bit too hard now.
Yeah, try getting my mum to do some strength training.
Still looks good though.
In terms of like agility, because she's literally doing stuff on the farm, like riding a horse, wrangling the cows, like doing that is the other thing about that agility thing is that, I mean, they say that when you're doing, like, one of the things that does help with falls is to do things like where you line up the cones and you like go in between them, or you do like, jumps, or do movements that aren't just the same type of movement, because your brain's going to get used to those things. You actually have to
But also those like sudden movements are keeping the type 2 activated.
Yeah. So I guess she has an element of that sort of stuff that's helping her to stay, fit and agile as she ages. But certainly, she would never pick up a weight and do some squats.
Yeah, but there's not. Yeah, I mean, she's a bad example, I guess, in terms of like if you don't do these things, you end up like this. She's sort of like bypassed.
I mean, she's just always
that.
go anyway. So she's just burning.
I mean, it's not
a lot.
There's not a sign or a symptom of being her age at all, is there? Really? Like,
no, I mean, I guess it could happen quickly, but
gait and all that stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got a couple other stats here.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were going to work me through every stat? But
what's next, honey?
Yeah. So muscle mass declines by roughly 3 to 8% per decade after age 30. It's quite significant. Accelerating to about 0.6% per year after menopause.
I guess that sort of like echoes the conversations that we've been having over the last few years. Is my attitude towards myself and you is that it's in our best interest long term for health and longevity to like almost like lift. I was saying this to you the other day. It's like lift as heavy as you can. This is my mindset. I lift as heavy as I can.
This is the part that I hate about it. Yeah.
In any one session, because even me, who I would say I'm reasonably disciplined and I have ready access to a gym, there's still things that get in the way. So you sort of like, you aim high, but you don't always hit that because you're sick, you're working, kids' activities, and so
you still manage to do it pretty much every day, though.
Not every day.
Well, you're doing a rest day now, which you are very disciplined. I would have said before you started working with Cliff and he made you have a rest day, it was pretty hard for you to have a rest day.
Yeah.
And then the last one is a 6-month strength training protocol produced a statistically significant increase in bone mineral density in women with osteoporosis versus no meaningful change in a non-training control group. I think that's pretty obvious.
Right.
A significant increase in bone mineral density in the ones that did a 6-month training versus the ones that didn't.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like, okay, well, duh. It works.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it doesn't make it any funner for me personally, knowing that it actually does. It is preventative.
Yeah. Well, you don't think that helps?
No, it's actually more how it makes me feel just after I've done it, obviously. That makes me do it regularly.
Even the strength stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to, when I am strong, like, you know me, I've gone through phases of I'll exercise consistently and then like winter will hit and I'll just be in hibernation mode. And I'll be like, it's too cold to put my workout gear on. I'm just going to skip this for 6 months.
I reckon that's a bit unfair.
No, I'll always do something, but the amount and the commitment dwindles for sure during the winter season. And I definitely feel less strong. And I like it when I feel strong. I return back to it and I'm like, oh, it feels good to be strong, doesn't it? Like it feels good to have to feel like your arms are strong. It's a different feeling when you're like just floppy.
Yeah.
But I love a run. I actually feel like nothing compares to running for me.
No. Yeah, you feel quite elated after a run. I don't feel like, that I don't run anymore.
No.
And so I rarely have that, but I'm very aware of it, but after you finish a session in the gym, it's sort of like I'm glad that's over with.
Yeah, well, you feel like you've ticked the box.
And that's the satisfaction or the sense of achievement, but it's not like, oh, I feel so good.
Yeah. So I think then the other part that we wanted to do, although this has just really been a much longer podcast than I thought, is the muck and the magic.
The mud and the honey.
Scott wants to call it the mud and the honey. I want to call it the muck and the magic. Basically the highs and the lows of the week.
Yeah.
The month. Something like that.
Okay. You go.
I say this and I don't say it in a braggy way. I just say it because I feel like in life you have to celebrate those things. Otherwise, they pass you by. So for sure, my best is that we just had our best month on record, which I think anyone who has a business can feel happy and satisfied by that. So yeah, I mean, you spend so much of your time when you own a business thinking about your business and, you know, all the hard things that happen. And, you know, I think it's always nice when you get a win like that.
No, totally. Yeah, it's a accumulation of everyone's efforts, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We've got a great team. And my muck is that I feel like we haven't announced this at all in any kind of way, but we are in sort of the close sort of stages, I guess, of starting another arm of the Good Farm Shop. And I'm a bit scared about it. Like I'm feeling like obviously like self-doubt stuff is coming up. But I think that's normal. And I think that it's not that I don't have confidence in it. I do. But I think it's normal to be feeling like scared about that part. It's a whole new chapter.
And what's the fear that you open a shop and no one comes, or?
No, I think it's more that it's just going to be a lot more work. But I just also think that that's what we do. Like we actually can't.
It's too late now anyway.
No, I know. It is too late now. We are in it. But I think that there is this thing that comes up where it's like, it's all this work has happened to get us to this point. We're building this other thing. And it's actually all the work that comes after. Like you do it, you launch it, and it just begins.
Yeah.
And I've felt slightly like the work that we've been doing has been quite a lot, because I feel like you've dropped off a little bit. And because you're in the kitchen. And I feel like now it's just like, I'm like, am I going to be alone in this? Is Scott even going to be part of this?
I'll be there at the launch and...
And then there's also the thought of like, fuck, what if everyone hates it? What if it's shit?
Well, we know what everyone's getting for Christmas for the next 25 years. That's for sure. I think you just got to try these things, haven't you?
Yeah, well, you do. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
My muck or mud. I don't know whether this falls into this category, but you and I were speaking about it a couple of nights ago, and it's something that sort of comes up periodically. And so my mud and my honey are kind of inextricably linked. So your criticism to me the other day was that I don't switch off, which is something I've recognized in myself many times. And I only think about it when I'm either torched and a bit burnt out, or I get injured and can't do the things that I want to do. So yeah, I don't know whether it fits the criteria for being mud, or the bad in your week, but it feels like it's something in my character that I probably should work on and sort of learn to sit down a bit more often, have a cup of tea, sit in the present.
When you get home from work, you should probably just chill for like 10 minutes, not like just frantically go around the house doing all the things that don't need to be done in that moment. Just like drop in.
Yeah, I
say
do
hello
feel
to your
this
kids,
like...
say hi to your wife.
Yeah, I do feel like there's this pressure to get it all done, which doesn't come from anywhere. It's not like you're cracking the whip I just feel like I've got to...
I'd like extra 10 minutes just to break and like let your nervous system decompress.
So my win, or my, what is it, honey?
You muck and the magic, but you finished it to mud and honey.
Is linked to that, because I think the way that I am in the world means that I train and exercise when I should be resting, and then that often leads to an injury, which is something I'm working on with a coach. But I've had diagnoses for 2 injuries that have bugged me for about 4 months. And although nothing really changes from a treatment plan, it's nice to know what they are. And so you can, I don't know, forge a path out of it, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a good time to wrap, because I've noticed that your mic is on orange now, which I think means it's going to turn off.
Blow up.
At some point soon. Anyway.
Right, good chat.
Thanks for chatting with me, Scott.
All right, I'll see you in a second.
Thanks for joining us. I'm going to put some music here, make it fun while we get up and exit.
Yeah, maybe a little tile.